Well, hello everyone, and thank you again for joining our World Environmental Health Day 2014 presentations. We're moving on now. We've looked at some of the amazing infrastructure projects that are possible in the West and in the developed nations, but as the theme for our Environmental Health Day this year is the inequality of access, both in safe drinking water and in sanitation. We thought it was fitting to invite the folks from DeeperMissions into this space and to let them talk to you a little bit about how they have addressed the inequalities in sanitation within the service areas that they are concentrated in. And also, I'd like to introduce Derek Reinhard, who is the Executive Director. You can see him there in this picture with one of the amazing e-loop installations. And at this point, I'm going to stop my screen sharing and pass it back to Derek.
Thank you, Dendra. I appreciate the opportunity to share DeeperMissions' story. As Dendra said, my name is Derek Reinhard. I'm the Executive Director for DeeperMissions, and I'm also originally the founder. We're an all-volunteer organization working out of Fairfax, Virginia, and currently active in West Africa, Sierra Leone. And I just would like to take some time and share our story and tell you about the things that we've been working on, the projects which are addressing the inequalities of sanitation, particularly the need for clean water and sanitation, as well as the other part of our mission is clean energy and green technology to similarly address respiratory health. For DeeperMissions and this little talk, I'd just like to share what our vision is, the things that we do for our mission, as well as our activities for that we do overseas as well as stateside that address sanitation, inequalities, and our other programs, which include energy, but also an activity at a school for the deaf in Sierra Leone, which is called, a program is called Hope for Kakwa. Our vision, which is if the world became this way, it would put DeeperMissions out of business. And our vision is where all the communities in Africa have access to renewable energy and safe water. This particular picture here is one of our latest success stories for solar energy. This is the campus of the Kakwa School for the Deaf in this, just outside the city of Bo, the second largest city in Sierra Leone. We installed a 1.2 kilowatt system, solar system, and the campus now is fully lit. Up until this point, they had to rely on a gas generator to provide any sort of lighting and power to the classrooms, the administrative buildings. And this here you're looking at clean energy, renewable energy, and there's a couple of success stories attached to this, and I'll share them a little further on. Another part of our vision is the safe water, which also has a sanitation component to that, because you can have safe water in an area, but as you don't have safe sanitation, the water itself is not going to remain clean as well. So a component is both for making sure that sanitation in areas where water is drawn is cleaned up, as well as just making sure, as best as we can contribute to communities, that they are able to manage their human waste, so by extension keep their water safe. This picture here is a 4-space ELU, a latrine system at a hospital in the city of Bo, Mercy Hospital. And DeeperMissions gained a grant from the Child Health Foundation in Maryland to help with the sanitation situation at the hospital. And one would think that, well, hospitals, everything's taken care of. You got your infrastructure and you got your water, and of course you got to have your sanitation and such. Hospitals in Sierra Leone rely on pit latrines, ventilated pit latrines, and such. There are very few that have active and large septic systems, water-based septic systems, and obviously, for the reasons that water itself, gathering as well as access, is challenged. And so this was a contribution to the hospital in being able to use these ventilated, improved, waterless solar composting latrines. And again, I'll tell that story in a bit. But our vision is such that we have clean energy, renewable energy, safe water, and proper sanitation all in this cycle, so that communities are less susceptible to illnesses due to unsafe water and sanitation, because, and I'm sure as in the other presentations, the statistics are just devastating with regards to the lack of access to safe drinking water and basic sanitation. And one of those 1.6 million people die every year from diarrheal disease, including cholera, that's attributed to that lack of access. So there's a tremendous need, and we're hoping to contribute to alleviating that need by working with communities in Africa. And the way we do that, as far as the DeeperMissions purpose to exist, is that through sustainable partnerships, both with communities as well as with contractors, manufacturers, and such, we would bring this renewable energy, this green technology projects and clean water and safe sanitation to Africa. This picture here was one of our first sanitation projects. Again, at the School for the Deaf, there was a team of Virginia Tech engineering and architecture students who got together, and we, with the need, the call from the school for more sanitation, the students actually designed a building that was appropriate for the rainy season, and we went and worked alongside local workmen to set up this sanitation, these latrines for the deaf school. And again, speaking to sustainable partners, we work with local contractors. Here there's two of the contractors that we've worked with that either help us install the latrines themselves or build the buildings. And an important component, obviously, is that these partnerships are sustainable, as well as the projects themselves are standalone. They're accepted by the community, and wherever the projects are implemented, there's an education component so that they can be maintained in ways that don't require continual infusion of cash and such. And so this was a visit that we had made after we had finished the ELUs at the deaf school, and we were just going over, doing a visual inspection as well, but also going over some of the schematics and some of the maintenance records there. So our idea is, looking forward, is to continue to build those partnerships, find areas where we're invited to bring the clean technology in order to come up with a safer environment for communities in Africa. So what do we do overseas? What projects have we done? We only formed in 2010, received our 501c3 tax-exempt status, charitable status, in 2011, and we've since had 3 trips and 5 projects that we've implemented since then. This particular project is a water project. We were asked to help an amputee camp in Sierra Leone to get a borehole well water to them, and obviously Sierra Leone had a brutal civil war, and there are a number of tens of thousands, actually, of survivors still of the mutilation, the brutal treatment that people civilians were subject to. And there's a camp of about 75 amputee survivors and their families, totaling about 350 people. And DeeperMissions was asked to come in to bring a borehole well, which is a well that is drilled down into the aquifer. It's not subject to the groundwater table, and that's one of the sources of contaminated water. Is it's less expensive to do hand-dug wells down into just the water table, but the two hazards there is contamination due to ground runoff, particularly from open defecation practices, but also the lack of access to water year-round. If they try to dig hand-dug wells in the driest part of the dry season and get down into the water table, so obviously when the rainy season starts and the water table comes up, it's most likely that there will be water available, but during times of drought and such, it's quite often mud at the bottom of the hand-dug well, and again, not necessarily of very good quality. So the idea was to provide 24/7, 365 year-round water access with a borehole, and then also understanding that many of the survivors are missing limbs, so access needed to be as easy as possible. So there was a solar water pumping component that was added to this, and so there's no need for the heavy hand pumping or any other, or even bringing in an electrical generator to run a electric water pump. This is going on anytime the sun's shining. That water tank at the top is getting filled, and then it's just a matter of being able to turn on the spigot there, and it's close by to the camp, because up until this point they had to walk over a mile to get to a water source, which in itself was of dubious quality as well. So this is a great convenience for the camp and very much appreciated. It was also our first project that we did without a work team, and we have a volunteer that supports us in Sierra Leone, and he's done a great job as far as coordinating the contractors, checking out the bids, and making sure that everything proceeds with good quality and transparency and good value for money. So we're very pleased with this first project. I've been talking a lot about the sanitation, and this is another example of the ELUs, we call them EnviroLUs or ELUs, that were installed. This one is in a rural church in northern province of Sierra Leone. This church itself hadn't had any sanitation facilities since the Civil War, other than the local privy. And so a sister church in Pennsylvania commissioned DeeperMissions to construct the latrines here that you see here for the church. Now I'll take a minute and describe these ELUs, because I think it's one of those engineering solutions that is simple, elegant, and extremely effective, and fits very much into our mission of finding sustainable partnerships as well. There is a manufacturing company in South Africa, and they took it on themselves to address the sanitation issue in Africa, and basically they looked at Africa and said, okay, we are a continent that has challenges with reliable water sources. It has challenges with being able to have capital investment, heavy capital investment in infrastructure, such as septic systems, water pumping, and the like. And we're a continent that stretches, that is actually larger than most of well, I think all of the developing world combined. And what can be done in places where there's humans to be able to manage the human waste so that communities can remain healthy, without this huge capital investment that's needed, as well as the unreliable sourcing of water. And what they came up with was the EnviroLoo, and it's basically a pre-manufactured ventilated improved pit latrine that also serves as a solar dehydrator and composter. As you can see here in the picture, the design is a type of clamshell where you can see the covers on the top, and then there's another 3 feet that's underground there. And these are positioned toward the sun, so north of the equator generally to the south, and south of the equator generally to the north. And within those containers there's a perforated plate so that the human waste is separated to solid to liquid. Through the day-to-day action of the sun on these black containers, 2 things happen. One, there's tremendous amount of dehydration, and because of the ventilated improved pit design, you have those ventilation pipes there that carry out the fumes, the moisture, and also causes the positive airflow from the toilet holes within the building, and that prevents the ability of insects to enter in and to carry off pathogens after they're feeding on the waste. So the ventilated improved pit latrine design helps in itself as far as sanitation. The solar dehydrating component solves that problem of other pit latrines where they fill up and you have to do something with that sludge. Either cover it up and let it sit for itself for a year, which is the common practice, or hire somebody to come in with buckets, or they do have some of the septic pumping trucks that will come in, but then they carry that off, that fresh human waste and slurry, and dump it in a centralized location, which still is subject to the environment, the flies, and the sanitation hazards. Well, now with the ELUs, this holds the waste in there. It's dehydrating in there. The temperature, because of its clamshell design, the temperature is held high enough, long enough that pathogens in the human waste are killed. And the plate, the perforated plate, is sloped toward the back, toward these hatches you can see, so that within a month or two, depending on how often it's used and stuff, if it's lightly used, within weeks, you have waste in there that has turned into compost. The pathogens have been killed, the moisture has been removed down to 5% of the size. It is compacted, dehydrated, and it's safe. And so you can basically take that out, throw it on the ground safely. Farmers, when we were, it was interesting, when we were at doing the install at the hospital, there were people coming by saying, when is this going to be done, because we would like the compost from this. And this was, again, our volunteer Mohammed in Sierra Leone had been doing what we call in the project management business change management and stakeholder engagement, because he was explaining to the community what was going on as far as this unusual looking construction project, and they get it. They understand that safe compost is good for gardens, and so you have a constant supply of either just taking the waste out that is safe and disposing of it safely, or the potential probably in larger installation, you could potentially start some sort of composting business as well. Pretty exciting stuff. We're, like I said, we're just starting out and have these few success stories. The larger vision we have is to help communities decide how to manage their waste that is now becoming safe. Another thing that we do overseas, and this is part of the Hope for Kakwa program, is this school for the deaf, the Ebert-Kakwa School for the Deaf, which is on the south side of the city of Bow. We brought a deaf education teacher and a nurse last summer to provide deaf awareness workshops for the local community and local leadership and teachers. We had representatives from the Army and the police, as well as the local school board, local school teachers, and teachers and older students from the deaf school. And everyone was exposed to the challenges of being deaf, both from a health perspective, because many of the children are deaf due to lack of vaccination. It's not a congenital, although there is inherited deafness. A lot of it is due to lack of vaccination, so children, when they're very young, 2 to 4 years old, will get sick and lose their hearing, and then there's a lot of residual illness that has to be handled as well. So these workshops both help the community appreciate that these students, other than having a disability, are normal and thoughtful and capable students. And again, some of the cultural challenges are that if you have a disability, then you also will have an intellectual challenge or a learning challenge. And the design of this was to expose local community to deaf students, deaf teachers, to show them that they are people just like them, and they just need to communicate in a different way. It was a very exciting, very fulfilling time for us. And toward the end, people were asking us, when are you going to do this again? Or you need to come to our area or to our school and do this as well. So we're excited with the potential for the Hope for Kakwa program. And again, as I've talked about, besides the water and the sanitation, we also have a solar component, and this is, again, another success story. A lot of this, at this point, is revolving around the deaf school, and this is the array that is responsible for that night lighting that I showed the picture at the beginning of my presentation. This system here provides enough power for all of the lights, the fans in the school offices, the DVD and TV player where the teachers use in order to show sign language videos and videos of signers in different situations. But also, even before we had left the area, the director of the school, Sylvester, down there, you can see in the middle, already went out and purchased solar cell phone charging components, and they started using the excess energy from the system. They started a cell phone charging service for the local community. So now, not only are they enhancing the education of the deaf students and the teachers, they're also allowing local students to come and study at night in the deaf school, and the income from the solar cell phone service has allowed them to set aside enough money to replace any components in the system that are broken, and their continued income is equivalent to the salary, the monthly salary of one of the teachers there. So this infusion of this project has enabled the school itself to take another step toward self-sustaining operations. We're very excited with that, and we're looking as it unfolds, and as the school grows, we will be returning to help them with their infrastructure needs. And one last thing, as far as how DeeperMissions has participated in other projects, here you can see a solar array that is on the pediatrics wing of the government hospital in Bow. I was approached to consult with a nonprofit in the UK who was pursuing a grant to bring this solar electricity to the pediatrics ward. And I consulted with them. I answered questions and helped them with their grant proposal to make this happen. And obviously you can see that it was a successful grant and another exciting occurrence for the community there in Sierra Leone. The biggest challenge and one of the most heart-wrenching and now heartwarming components to this is that until this time, where there's 24/7 electricity, the hospital itself, during the dry season, when electricity utilities, the commercial utilities, the city utilities weren't available, weren't generating electricity, they had to turn off their generators because they could not afford to run the generators all night long. In the bottom of the picture there, you can see an infant who is on an oxygen concentrator. And with respiratory challenges and other illnesses, there's a need for the oxygen concentrator to keep the children strengthened with oxygen to help them heal. And you can imagine being a parent, and the end of the day, the generators go off, the oxygen concentrators are turned off, and you just have to hope for the morning, for when the power is going to come on. And I, as a parent myself and a grandparent, I know that's it's an unbelievable experience that I can imagine going through. So now with the solar on the hospital, the pediatrics wing, they have power 24/7, and so there's more children who are better cared for or have better access to consistent consistently powered medical equipment. So that's something that jokes me up every time I talk about it, but it was very exciting to see that unfold. And there's more. This is I laugh sometimes because I was interested in the clean energy component, but I knew, as far as water and sanitation, that's needed as well. And I thought, people would say, "Oh, you do energy. That's great. We need more energy." But when we introduced the ELUs, people, communities, hospitals, schools are saying, we need sanitation, and so I didn't, and that's actually how I had met Dendra as well, is that the sanitation component just grew. I appreciated how much it impacts communities and how basic and important it is even before having access to electricity. That sanitation component and having the access to clean water is fundamental. And so we were approached recently by a Rotary Club in West Springfield, Virginia, to assist with their pursuit of grants to improve schools in Sierra Leone. They had already been sponsoring a school in Sierra Leone, but they wanted to expand that. And they are partnering with the Bow chapter of the Rotary International. And this is us having met them last summer on behalf of the Rotary International Club. And they have identified a handful of schools at risk, which are the most rural and the least provisioned schools, where they are wanting to improve teacher certification and teacher education so that the education the children are getting is top-notch, but also they also recognize the need for water security and access to sanitation. So they approached DeeperMissions to ask if we would partner with them to help each one of these schools succeed both academically but also in an infrastructure way, so that the health of the community, the health of the students will not be hindered as they improve their education as well. So lots of exciting things as far as sustainable partnerships goes. Now, what do we do stateside? There's all sorts of neat things that we're doing here. This is kind of a me photo because I took some of my veterans education benefits and became certified in solar photovoltaics. So I got a certificate for the design and installation of photovoltaic systems. Had a good time, made some good friends and contacts, and it also helps me as far as scoping projects in Sierra Leone or in Africa, and as well as double checking, being able to understand when vendors are putting in proposals, understanding the components, the performance points, and that sort of thing. So, stateside education is important in bringing folks on who can bring a skill set and balance compassion with technical knowledge, so that we are providing the most bang for the buck, as it were, in terms of the donors who want to contribute to the health of these communities, and being sure that we're all good stewards of those funds. Another thing, and again, part of those partnerships is visiting potential vendors. Here is a manufacturer in Austin, and this is a large plastics forming company who is pursuing the stateside manufacturing rights for the ELUs. And so we visited with them to discuss how, if that went forward, we would be able to partner and better bring more ELUs into Africa, because obviously the volume production of materials brings the price down, and that's what we're looking to do, is be able to again get a good value and make our dollars go as far as possible. And then finally, also, as with all charities and those with missions, there's outreach. There's any number of events, including the World Environmental Health Day with wastewater education with Denver, that we get to tell our story. This particular one is a conference of the partners who are working in Sierra Leone for the United Methodist Church. There's any number of folks who are working with medical clinics, with relief development, and yours truly there with DeeperMissions, bringing in solutions from spot solutions like the solar reading lamps in the front to the larger infrastructure solutions that I've been talking about with the ELUs and large-scale solar, as well as drilling projects for communities. And there's always more. We know we're an all-volunteer organization, and we're growing. And we like to have anybody who's interested in serving in any sort of way, whether folks would like to travel and share in our projects overseas, or simply serve stateside. We have a number of volunteer opportunities, both on the board as well as functional volunteers, such as event planners or those with legal expertise with charities, that sort of thing. And then, as ever, partners and sponsors that could help us by providing us services, in-kind donations, and financial donations for our operations. So put that out there if anybody's interested in joining us in this journey for clean energy and safe water and sanitation in Africa. I have the contacts there on the front, as well as I'll post them on the site to be able to let us know your interests, and we'd be able to plug you in wherever you would feel most comfortable and confident. And now, what better way than to show pictures tell the story. in terms of children in need, but also people who we're working with who are becoming happier, healthier, that we're partnering with in such a way that we can break the cycle of poverty, to provide that access to a healthy environment, and give the jump start. Is, you know, the hand up versus the hand out is a classic line, but that is what we try to do, like we did with the infusion of power with that solar. Now the school is self-sustaining with that, and it's able to manage its system itself and pay for that. And these are some of the children, some of our travel team volunteers. It's just some very beautiful things. And kids are kids everywhere, love to jump rope, and just have a good time in interaction. And that's one of the wonderful things that I experience when we go with travel teams, is meeting beautiful, wonderful people. Everybody's different in the world, and everybody's beautiful in different ways, and exciting things happen. And kids love to have fun wherever you go, and here they are. We're trying to get them to all jump up at the same time and take a picture, and they thought that was just the funniest thing, because they jump up and then run up and say, "Show me the picture, show me the picture," or the snap, as it is in the colloquial. And this is one of the Hope for Kakwa students, and they're getting ready to provide the daily meal. And sometimes for the deaf students at the school, this is the only meal that they will have, which in itself is an incentive to come to school to learn and to get the nutrition you need to continue to learn more, and hopefully again be able to break out of that poverty cycle due to lack of education. This was a fun photo that our volunteer Mohammed took. Culturally very ceremonial, and this is at the church where the ilus that I showed earlier were installed, and they had a turning over the keys ritual, where the keys to the doors to the latrines were handed over, and they had children's choir there. They had the elders of the church and such, because they recognized that this is an important thing for not only their faith community but the local community, because they do recognize the need for safe sanitation. What I didn't point out is previously, as you look over the heads of the children on the right and you can see the ground gets lower, there's actually groundwater there, a pond that stretches all the way back, probably a quarter-mile back beyond there, to another part of the village where the primary school is. And their latrines are backed up against this pond as well. Now, their latrines are just pit latrines, not even ventilated improved. And so there's a tremendous hazard to the community from this school of 300 students, and they barely have any sanitation back there, let alone safe sanitation. And I just got news that a group of churches in Pennsylvania, one of which was the sister church of this, they have started collecting for DeeperMissions to go and install these ilus at this primary school. And I'll get on the Hangout site, this event site, a bit later, and share a link with you that if you'd like to contribute to that effort and the effort of bringing sanitation and water to other schools, you'll be able to take advantage of that. And we'd be grateful, and you can see the people in the picture as well that would benefit from that. Oh, and back, yeah, full circle to some of these leaders. Actually, this is the men's leader and the women's leader at the amputee camp, who were just thrilled to tell us back in the States how much they appreciated this, how much this well saves them work, saves them effort, and brings fresh water consistently to their community. So wonderful words that we got, and I'd be able to share some snippets of videos on the event site as well later on. But it was great and as enthusiastic as we worked with them to site the well and bring them that capability to their community and their families. And finally, again, kids are kids and love to yuck it up with the camera. Had a great time, and we continue to enjoy these trips, talking about and addressing extremely challenging situations with regards to health and well-being, the challenges, lack of access to clean energy and safe water, yet at the same time, everywhere we go, we meet smiles too. So that's my story at this point. We're looking forward to adding to the story. We've been invited to East Africa, both Kenya and Ethiopia, to do similar work, one with the Maasai community in the Rift Valley in Kenya, and then also with a NGO that builds libraries for schools in Ethiopia. And obviously libraries bring kids, and kids need toilets, so we'll be looking at sanitation and water solutions in those areas as we go do our partner visits early on. We would love to get back to Sierra Leone. As you know, right now West Africa is in the throes of the Ebola outbreak, and those who are not relief workers and health workers are deliberately and understandably not welcome. And so our thoughts and prayers are with all of our friends that we've made there, and I stay in regular touch. There's challenges, obviously, in day-to-day life, and we'll get back there as soon as we can. We continue to send them monetary support, but being there, there's nothing better than being there. So we're looking forward to get back, and in the meantime, we're excited also to expand our operations and our programs into other countries where there is similar need. So, Dendra, unless there's questions, thank you for the opportunity to share our story, and back to you.
Well, thank you, Derek. This has been a wonderful presentation, and what I would like to do to close out this session, actually, let me take the back. If you would stop your screen sharing, I'm going to take people back to your website. And what I'd like to point out is, Derek said, the event page on Google+, we will be adding resources for this, more information about the projects you've seen. You will see on the website that there are at least 2 opportunities to donate. Derek, would you like to talk about the what you do with the Donate Now button and what you do with the GoFundMe button?
Oh, certainly, yes. The Donate Now is a general donation button to both help with our operations as well as programs as needed. Obviously, I shared we have 4 programs: the solar program, the water program, the sanitation, and then the Hope for Kakwa program with the deaf school. So that is a general donate button to DeeperMissions. And then because, as you can tell, a lot of our story centers on Sierra Leone, we are now in a position where we would like to open an office in Sierra Leone. We've already got a volunteer who is able to man the office, which is Mohammed Nabiu, who has been working with us now for, oh good grief, a year and a half. We have the office space, and then we need to go through the appropriate fees to register with the government and be established as a recognized international NGO. And the GoFundMe button there is to collect the money that would go toward paying the fees, opening the office, the obvious operational costs and such. But we have a office space already donated to us, so the overhead is low, and this collection here is just to get us up and going as an official international NGO. And so going to the GoFundMe button there would contribute directly to help us open our first international office.
That's wonderful. Now, bear with me. I'm going to switch our audio source because earlier we weren't getting good audio through the internal system. But at that point, I'm going to close out today's session by showing one of your wonderful videos. And in case the audio quality is not good with the recording, I did post that link into the event window. So bear with me 1 second here while I change the audio to be the internal, and then I will switch to the, there we go. I will switch to the video. And can you still hear me okay, Derek?
Yes, I hear you fine.
Okay, then we will watch this, and at the point it closes, we will end for this evening. I will stop the recording, and we do encourage you to visit the DeeperMissions.org website and use World Environmental Health Day 2014 as an opportunity to make a significant difference in the life of the people that this wonderful organization serves. So here you go, Derek. Let's start the video.
Thank you, Dendra.
DeeperMissions was formed for 2 reasons. First, to provide life-saving aid through clean energy and safe water and sanitation health projects to the children and communities in West Africa. And second, to give Americans, especially university students, an opportunity to work side by side in those communities to make those projects a reality.
Recognize that our stay here is just a little piece of the whole story, of the whole picture for the deaf school in this area. So that was good. Just really cool to recognize, like, this is going to continue, and we're not just coming here doing this thing and leaving. And when we're with the deaf students and they need to move all these bricks from way over here with the well, where the well is, to the school, or to the latrine. And we started picking up a couple bricks, and then the entire school came and helped. And I guess that's just a picture of just the humility and serving and selflessness of the people that are here, especially.
The perseverance and the strength of the people who live here is really amazing. Seeing the GCP, their heart for the Lord, and their passion to serve others.
I guess one thing that really stood out was the sense of community and love and joy that's like already here amongst different peoples, and all the kids just have a passion for life. So.
I mean, you can never know what it's like to meet people like this or to live in an environment like this until you're here. And there were just so many people that were very encouraging to me. That was one of the highlights, was just all the times, all the different believers that we were in contact with, and able to be encouraged by them and also encourage them.
it's been exhausting in a good way, spiritually, physically, emotionally. And I'd like to have some time, a lot of time to reflect on that, because one of our biggest fears that we talked about was, you know, not having like an adequate reflection period when we get back, and then years down the road, it just becomes, oh yeah, one time I went to Africa, you know, just like, yeah, I went one time, it's not a big deal. When in reality, this is like a life-changing experience.
So with that, we are going to close out for the night. I would defy anybody to watch that video and still be completely dry-eyed. Everybody out there tonight in the developed world who sees that will probably visit their bathroom before they tuck in for the night. And when you sit down on your beautifully made porcelain Western civilization flush toilet, just consider the theme of World Environmental Health Day 2014 for our combined 6th session. And that is that everybody deserves to have a decent throne. And with that, I'm going to leave you with your assignment for the day, which is to go to the Donate Now or the GoFundMe button and make a decision to give somebody else the same luxury that you're going to enjoy tonight when you leave this session. Thank you and good night. Thank you, Derek, for your time this evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you, David.